whispered something I'd hoped to never hear again. My name is Vera. I was once the kingdom's sharpest blade, the last to fall in battle, and the first to be betrayed. They feared what I could become, so they sent me to die, alone. But death is not the end. Not when a necromancer has plans for your soul. Now, I dwell in this armor, cursed, bound, and alive only by the words I read. This tome, it fills itself with horror, with truths too vile for one world alone. Every night, I must read them, to feed the magic that keeps me whole. The stories, they're not fiction, they are real. Taken from dying stars, shattered timelines, and forgotten gods. And through their fear, I live. But I remember who did this to me. I remember the king, I remember the mission, I remember the lie. One day, I will close this tomb and open their throats. The battle was quiet, far too quiet for a victory. They said it was an urgent mission, that I alone was suited to carry it out. I should have known then. The Templar does not travel without her shield builders, and I was the shield. I fought. Of course I did. I always fought. 10 blades through my flesh. The last was not steel. It was silence. When I woke, I wasn't in the kingdom anymore. I was in the armor, and the tomb was waiting for me. They cursed me to read horrors from worlds beyond reason, as if pain could be put to rest with more pain. But I remember, and I will not rest. The king signed my death. The necromancer burned my soul. But the cowards who sent me alone, they will die screaming. I made a deal with the devil. Not metaphorically, of course. I mean, red eyes, suit too clean for reality, voice like winter. He found me hunched over in the hospital chapel, praying like a man who had never prayed before. My wife was dying. Days left, maybe even hours. He smiled and said he could save her, that she would live a long and healthy life. But everything comes with a price. 3 souls, he said, each more innocent than the last. I was desperate. I said yes. The first location was a small house on the edge of town. The directions were exact. I knocked, waited. An old man answered. Thin white hair, warm eyes. I pulled the trigger before he could speak. I found out later he had been a retired doctor. He spent his retirement treating patients for free. Cancer screenings, pediatric care. He had a wall of thank you cards from children and their parents on his wall. I drank myself unconscious that night. The second target was a school parking lot. He was no older than 12. He stopped and asked if I was okay. I shot him between the eyes and ran before I could hear him fall. News stories called him a hero. He had organized coat drives, handed out lunches to the homeless, helped tutor younger kids. My wife, meanwhile, was improving. Sitting up, smiling again, holding my hand like she did when we first met. The third address came in a sealed envelope under my pillow. Same as before. Plain paper, no name, just a place. A farmhouse out in the hills. I followed instructions like a machine, pulled up just after sunset, entered through the back door. Lights were off. It was quiet. I saw a figure asleep on the couch. I didn't even hesitate. The less I looked, the less I knew, the better. I pressed a pillow and the barrel to the side of their head. One pull was all it took. They never even moved. I left the same way I came in. Didn't even look at the face. It wasn't until I got home that I noticed something was wrong, though. My wife wasn't in bed. Her phone was on the kitchen table. Her shoes gone. And no note, no calls. I waited, not allowing myself to panic. Hours passed. Then I heard a ring at the doorbell. 2 officers, sad eyes, and gentle voices greeted me at the door. "There was a break-in," one said, "up in the hills." They showed me a photo. The couch. The body. Her body. She had gone out there to deliver food and blankets to a woman she knew. Someone from her cancer support group who had moved off grid. She went alone because she didn't want to bother me. Because she always thought of others first. The final soul was the purest of all. She had emptied her savings, paid out our debts, arranged support, all to make sure I would be okay after she passed. And I killed her. Not for her life, but for nothing at all. I require more. Hello? Dad, help me. What is it? What's going on? It's Jack. He attacked me. I think he might be dead. Damn it. Hold on, I'm on my way. I hung up and breathed deeply, trying to calm myself. Jack had been perfect when we'd met. My savior after a bad childhood. He was the first person who ever made me feel worth something. Like someone who could be loved. Within 2 years, we were married. That's when the trouble started. He became controlling, dictating where I could go, whom I could talk to. He cut me off from friends and family, and he insulted me constantly. Ugly, loud, opinionated, lazy, stupid. That was the worst. Always calling me stupid. It was horrible. But at least they were only words. The punches didn't come until later. I sat, reliving the last few hours until there was a knock at the door. I went to answer it. "Dad!" It held out hope he'd be worried for me, but it was the same as always. "What kind of ridiculous trouble did you get yourself into this time?" I led him silently into the kitchen, where my husband's body lay on the ground, a knife in his stomach and blood pooling on the floor beneath him. "What the hell did you do?" "It wasn't my fault," I insisted. "Jack lost it and came at me with a knife. I thought he was going to kill me." "Are you sure you just weren't overreacting like you always do?" Even now, he couldn't change. "Does it look like I was overreacting?" "Well, I suppose we better do something about it. Go get a blanket or something." I stood there, frozen, watching him start to gather the body. He looked at me, unmoving. "What are you waiting for, stupid girl? Engraved invitation? Go get a blanket." He got no further before I stabbed the second knife I'd been holding through his neck. He looked at me in shock as I stood, watching the blood spurt out as he fell over, taking harsh, ragged breaths until he wasn't breathing at all. When he was done, I put his hand on the knife in Jack's stomach to get his fingerprints on it. I had already wiped off mine, and then reversed the process with the knife in his neck. Then I checked the scene, showered, changed clothes, discarding the old ones, of course, then called 911. "This is 911. What's the nature of your emergency?" "Please help me. My husband and father got in a fight, and I think they're both dead. Help me. Please. They didn't need to know how I'd go to Jack into grabbing the knife. Convinced my father to move the body. Made sure I'd had an extra in my pocket. 2 men had abused me in my life, and now they were both dead. And no one would even suspect it was me. See? I wasn't stupid. I wasn't stupid at all. One last story. For months, all my dad could talk about was his upcoming trip to LA. How excited he was to see the Hollywood sign, the burger he was going to order from In-N-Out. Lakers this, Clippers that. But when the day finally came and he was supposed to leave for LA, my dad missed his flight. He lied down for a nap and slept through his alarm. The plane went down somewhere over Salt Lake City. Mechanical failure. 147 casualties. No survivors. Initially, I thought my dad was on the plane. He had been hyping it up for non-stop for so long that I was sure that there was no way he'd have missed his flight. You can imagine my surprise when he texted me that he was fine. He took his sweet time, too. I believed he was dead for almost 2 days before he shattered the illusion. I was halfway through planning his estate when he said that it wouldn't be necessary. Still, I said we should meet up at his place so I could see how he was doing. He had almost died after all, and I was sure he was probably a bit shaken. I feel great. Or not. That's good to hear, Dad, I said. Saw your trip to LA didn't work out. I know you were looking forward to it. Nah, I never cared much for LA. I just wanted to go to make you jealous. Asshole. He knew that going to LA had always been my dream. Seeing the Hall of Fame, getting a hot dog at Dodger Stadium, all of it. Mine. Well, I'm lucky you didn't invite me then. I'd be flat as a pancake somewhere near Salt Lake. I did invite you, he smiled. I just didn't offer to pay for it. That's my dad for you. I'll never understand why rich people are so stingy with their money. He could have made lifelong memories with his daughter, and it'd have cost pennies to him. But then I wouldn't learn the value of $1. And I'd have joined you, I responded, if I could have afforded it. I'll never understand why your generation is so lazy. It's my fault for not teaching you the value of hard work. Why don't I get us a cup of coffee? I interjected. You still take it black? He nodded, and I went to the kitchen. I poured us both a cup of coffee, and then I poured a little something extra into my dad's. Hopefully he wouldn't notice how bitter it was in the strong coffee. If only he knew exactly how much I valued hard work. After all, it wasn't easy getting a part-time job at the airport, or befriending the janitors, mechanics, and pilots. It was very hard getting in and out of the plane without anybody noticing, and even harder to set it all up to look like an accident. All to be thwarted by a goddamn nap. The tune is silent now, but not for long. Tomorrow, it will scream another memory at me.